Welcome to Your Mac Life for Wednesday, September the 12th, 2018. This is show number 1188. I am Shawn King.
I'm Melissa King.
Can you believe how some people don't know that?
What?
That your name is Melissa King? That you are Melissa? I'll explain that later. Some listener sent us emails.
Yes, I'm Lisa. In someone else's eyes, I'm Lisa.
Right.
There's kind of a similarity. So.
None whatsoever.
No, I mean with the name.
Oh, phew. Okay, thank you. On tonight's show, Apple's big event. Apple made some major announcements this morning at 10 a.m. Pacific time at the beautiful Steve Jobs Theater down there in Cupertino. We're going to talk about that with our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. We're also going to talk about, in our starting point photography segment, about Lisbon. We finally have a hotel to tell you guys about in downtown Lisbon, Portugal, that you guys can make reservations for. So we'll talk about that. But first up, the big, huge, monstrous, important news. We're moving to Newcastle, Australia. This is going to be YML in Newcastle. YML in Australia. It's her fault.
Australia.
Her fault.
It's not my fault.
It is your fault. I wouldn't be going if it weren't for you.
Well, you
want to
go. You want to go. Okay, then we want to go. I'm cool with that.
We went last December for 3.5 weeks, and it was a combination. It's not even a combination, but it was a beautiful, beautiful place. Gorgeous, amazing beaches. Melissa has an incredible family. That are just fun to hang out with and talk to, and wonderful and sweet and kind and gentle. They are just like her. They, like I said, live in a beautiful part of the world. Melissa has the opportunity to take a year off from her job here and get a job there, which is kind of cool. Mm-hmm. I guess the way it works is that you just say, out of here for a year, and they have to hold your job open for you?
Although I'll get a leave of absence. There's no reason why I won't.
So they're just going to basically hire someone for a year? Tell some poor schmuck they can only work for 12 months?
Oh, a lot of young therapists might take the opportunity to try something for a year. Why not? It's
kind of like what you're doing. I mean, you want to try something different.
Well, we'll see what happens.
What do you mean we'll see what happens?
I don't know. I might slip into pediatric therapy down there and love it. So I'm not sure if I'll slip into something completely different, or I'll be open to doing things different.
Oh, no. I mean different in the sense that it's different people, different kids, different environment, different that aspect. You might be doing the exact same thing, just in a different place.
And with other therapists.
The other aspect of this is our son Rory, who is 12 years old, will get the chance to hang out, because we don't really have family here. I don't have any family here that's not batshit insane, and Melissa doesn't have any family here either. So the idea is to get Rory, especially because when we were there, we really saw a difference in him. We really saw him. He's a very shy kid, very polite, very kind, very gentle, but fairly reserved. But when he was hanging out with his cousins, they were running around, they were playing, they were having a blast.
Yeah, he got to be in that. It was wonderful.
And he loves the ocean as much as we do. He's as hard to get out of the water as you and I are.
My whole family's hard to, they love, I mean, the ocean's right there. So
there is beautiful beaches there. There's surfing. There is all kinds of opportunity. One of the things that's interesting is that because Melissa is a dual citizen, both her sons, Rory and Damon, can become Australian citizens as well. And they can get that dual citizenship.
Yes. So we'll get Rory's citizenship first.
Yeah. The hard part's going to be, I've never done I've moved 13 times in the last 17 years. So moving isn't the issue. For me, moving in such a drastic way is going to be really hard for all of us. You pretty much have to leave with one suitcase. You know, you ain't taking your motorcycle, probably not. You're not taking your cats. I mean, the good news, bad news. The cat import I thought was 6 months, but if you want to bring a domestic animal from North America to Australia, they're in quarantine for 10 days, which isn't too bad.
That's not so bad.
But it's cost $2,200 for a cat. for a North American house cat, $2,200. Do you know what kind of cat you can buy in Australia for $2,200? A leopard, like a real live leopard. You
Yeah.
could get. I'd rather spend the money on getting a wombat for a pet. I mean,
I'd love a
geez,
wombat for a pet.
That's huge. So we have to give the cats up.
Oh, I don't want it to. We won't talk about that just yet.
We have to give the bed up. We have to give your armoire up. We have to give my desk up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's going to be the world's easiest move, but it's also going to be painful moving some of the stuff.
Well, I'm not moving my art. We're going to bring it with us.
That's right.
I'm not selling my art, I should say. We're going to bring it with us.
We're going to see what kind of packing crate we can get and put some stuff in there. Melissa has some beautiful paintings we definitely want to keep. I have a pasta maker I want to bring with me. She's not listening.
Oh, the pasta maker. Yeah. We won't be bringing the pasta maker.
The weather is going to be so much better. We just got a small taste of it over the last few days of the kind of weather we get here in the Vancouver area from basically late October to March of constant rain. Right now in Newcastle, it is warmer. It's winter time. Their seasons are the opposite of ours. It's winter time in Newcastle, Australia, towards the end of winter, and it's warmer than it is here in Vancouver in the summertime. And we don't have the rainy season. You guys don't have the rainy season that we have.
No, not like up north. In northern Australia, they have a rainy season. They have a dry season and a rainy season. That's their seasons. Yeah.
MacMan, are you going to put some stuff in storage in case you move back? Storage here is very, very expensive.
Yeah.
We're looking at between $100 and $200 a month for storage here. It's really not worth. We don't have anything that's that valuable.
No, we'll get a little container and send it over on a slow boat.
Yeah, that would make more sense. The stuff that we do want to keep. But then the reverse is if we come back, we'll send it back on a slow boat the other way. So that's going to be a little tough, a little annoying if when we come back.
Well, Dave asks if it's a temporary move, but it's a big thing to do once, let alone twice. And we're going to try and sell the house.
Yes.
So.
Well, selling the house means we can do it, because without selling the house, we don't have the seed capital to go and live basically like beach bums for a month.
Yeah. No. No. We'd be good to sell, and then we want to buy a house. We want to buy a home in Australia. Yeah.
So there's a lot of challenges. It's going to be the time frame is somewhere around mid-July next year, although that could change depending on, unlike those of us here in North America, because the seasons are opposite. The kids in Australia don't get a summer break like we do in North America, that July, August off, end of June to the beginning of September off. You guys get, was it 2-3 weeks every 4 months, something like that?
Down in for the school year?
Yeah, for the school year.
I know it used to be 6 weeks in our summer. I don't know what it is anymore. I don't know.
So it's...
And then someone asked about Rorys Dad. So Rorys Dad has said he's going to come over at one point and put Rory in a van and go off on a journey. So
which was
that was
mind-boggling
news.
He doesn't like flying.
No, he said that he wouldn't fly. So this, Rory's excited now.
Yeah. And that helps a lot. Having his dad say, "I'm going to come for a visit," is a big deal.
Wow. So they're going to go into the outback and do a big adventure.
The other option was to put Rory on a plane, send him back, and we weren't nuts with that idea.
No.
We can do it.
Not yet. He's too young. We'll wait.
He's not too young, but it's still better if Dad comes and visits him.
Yeah, and then we'll go from there. Yeah. We'll take it from there.
Mosquito says, what are your likely non-YML SPP job prospects? 0. Legally won't be allowed to work. Although I think, and I have to find out, the idea is hopefully to be able to do the Lisbon photo tourism thing. There's no reason why I can't organize things in Sydney. And once we get to Sydney, we'll have Lisbon in our back pocket. And hopefully by that time, we're already planning the next one for September, whether that be Florence or whether that be Sydney.
Sydney, you guys come to Sydney.
That's certainly
New Zealand.
An idea that is definitely a possibility of doing the photo tourism starting point photography in Sydney or in Auckland or Christchurch, New Zealand,
Mm-hmm.
because New Zealand is just beautiful.
It is beautiful, and it's smaller, and it's quaint little towns, and it's maybe easier to plan a trip. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I think Sydney, doing photo tourism in Sydney means staying in Sydney.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
Because there's not a whole lot within easy reach outside of Sydney. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Newcastle's an hour and a half, almost 2 hours away. Whereas New Zealand's very much like Nova Scotia. It's a very narrow country. And so getting from one side to the other and with the mountain range down the center of it, there's a lot of natural beauty. It's
a beautiful country, wonderful people in New Zealand. Wonderful.
The problem is, and this was something that Lauren Finkelstein pointed out on Facebook, and I've had other people point out. Japester was in the IRC chat room this morning, and it was 3 a.m., and I was just like, oh.
Yeah, you'd have to change the time of your
When am
show.
I going to do YML?
You'd have to adjust when you did it.
I don't know if I would. Why couldn't I still do it Wednesdays at 5:30 in Australia?
I suppose you could.
What time would it be? For you guys, what?
Well, it would be Thursday at 10.
No.
Be the next. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We're in Australia. So it'd be Tuesday about 18 hours before, I think. Or 18 or 22 hours before.
See, look at all these people assuming that we're going to do the time that's convenient for them. You lazy schmucks.
I think he's going to be swimming on the beach.
So I don't know what's going to... what's going to work time-wise. I have to find something in...
It's nice that people want
14-hour difference between Sydney and Atlanta, Monty says. MacMan, if you're not going for almost a year, you should be able to get a work permit by then. I think especially being married to an Australian citizen. Yes, I can. It costs $7,000.
Over $7,000 to get Shawn a work visa.
I don't want to work that much.
Your job is to take care of Rory. I know. Holy shit is right.
Yeah, no kidding. It is not cheap. So yeah, I'm going to try to figure out what time we would do YML. And I might end up doing it like Thursday at 4 a.m., kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or what time is it? What time is it? Someone figured out what time is it in Sydney when it's 5:30 p.m. on Wednesday in Sydney, Australia. What time is it back here in North America?
Yeah, it would be the previous day.
Tuesday.
And then you would go, it would be the previous day.
Holy crap. Monty says $887 round trip, Atlanta, Sydney. That's ridiculous.
That's awesome.
That's more expensive than a one-way trip, Vancouver to Sydney.
Monty, you would love Sydney.
Oh my God, that's not bad, Moses. That's not bad. That's freaking fantastic. Jeez,
that is really. I was rejoicing at a flight for $1,079 return. I thought, oh my God, that's fantastic.
One-way tickets in July for us here in Vancouver is $800. Sly says, right. Dear God, man, use the clock on your phone. I'm doing a show here, lady.
Yeah. Anyways, it'll be Tuesday sometime. And MacMan wants to come. See, everybody wants to come. So they're doing in Australia now.
Doing in Australia.
Starting point in Sydney.
So we'll talk more about that a little later on. We're also in our starting point photography segment going to be talking about our Lisbon hotel. We finally got a deal worked out with a really lovely little hotel boutique guest house in Lisbon, downtown Lisbon. We'll talk about that in the starting point photography segment. Up next, though, we're going to talk to our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. This is your Mac Life. Welcome back, folks. Thank you guys very much for joining me here this Wednesday evening. On our phone now, we've got our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. Jim, how you doing? Jim? Hello, Jim? Oh, my God, I hung up on Jim. He hates when I do this.
Hey.
Go ahead, call me names. Did I hang up on you or did you hang up on me?
No, this was the weirdest thing. My phone rang, so I answered it, and then my watch kept ringing. So I said, well, I said no, decline, and it hung up on me. But why didn't it recognize that I had already picked it up? Weird.
That's kind of odd. So today was the Big Apple event. Did you guys notice in the room or in the lineup that Tim Cook had tweeted something and then deleted it? Did that aspect?
Oh yeah. We were thinking Tim meant to text somebody. Instead of tweet. And then it got even worse when he deleted it, where you're like, he screwed up. It was so funny.
We were sitting there online, the interweb. I saw it and went to click on it and say, hey, I wonder what he's talking about. But it disappeared. Like, oh, my God, he deleted it. So I figured, it was a direct message that he sent in the clear. No big deal. If you've used Twitter for any period of time, you've done that at least once or twice, and it wasn't anything embarrassing. Didn't think anything else of it until about halfway through the video, and I went, oh, the clever monkeys.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That was very good. I thought that was very clever of them to pull it off in that kind of way.
Yeah.
Cook came out, did his usual spiel, turned it over to possibly the most boring presenter Apple has. This guy doing the Apple Watch thing.
Oh, well, I mean, Jeff is all about the research and the watch stuff. I mean,
I get that, but this is a presentation meant to jazz people up. Monty commented, we were in the IRC chat room during the event, and Monty commented on the fact the audience felt really down. And I said, yeah, because the audience, I know this from presenting, the audience feeds off the presenter. If your presenter is, shall we say, low-key, then the audience is going to be low-key as well. And I just don't think he was a really good choice, a very dynamic choice for what turned out to be a really, really interesting Apple Watch demonstration.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, the Apple Watch was pretty amazing.
This Apple Watch is the first one that I can honestly say I'd really, really like. The previous ones were like, it'd be nice to have, but I really want to buy this one. And that's not even for the heart stuff. It just feels like this is the watch that I've always wanted. I don't know how to explain that. You've had all three versions of the Apple Watch. What did you think?
I have. So when I picked up the Apple Watch, I my first comment was, well, this isn't so big after all.
Yeah.
And then I put it on and held up my regular size watch to that and said, holy shit, this is big.
Yeah.
Like it's bigger than what you think just by looking at it. And especially when you hold one of the old ones up, you look at the screen and say, wow, that's pretty big. I mean, and I said this to Dave earlier, it's not the ideal situation, but if I had to show you a photo on the watch, you could actually see it on this one, on the new one.
It's that much more clear.
Yeah, and that much bigger.
Yeah.
That you could actually see it on this one. I wouldn't even bother showing you a photo on this watch. But it's a matter of millimeters, but it makes such a huge difference.
It's interesting, too, that they've, for better or worse, jammed a lot more information onto the face of this new Apple Watch. Do you think it looks too busy?
No, there's actually a ton of space.
Yeah.
Like they could have made those complications even bigger. And then I would have said, okay, yeah, they jammed stuff in there.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it looks very roomy. It's bigger, obviously. It looks bigger. And there's a lot of things that you can see at a glance.
Yeah.
Where, with the one now, you really can't. So
And how much of the complications can you remove from the watch? I'm looking at a picture of the watch face now they showed on screen, and you see the hands of the watch, and I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4,
8.
5, 6, 7. There are 8 different things. Can you pare that down to just one thing, or to have it to be just the watch face?
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't have to have complications in there. I don't think so.
Yeah, because that's something people are going to want to know. If they don't want all of that stuff on the watch, then they should be able to get rid of a lot of it.
Right.
I do like it, though. I do like the idea of having and just guessing at some of the features. Looks like there's a timer feature. There is a temperature gauge, a UV thing, your rings, some neat stuff that you can get on it.
And I like the fact that, with the current watch, you kind of have to pick between rings or something else, I like the fact that I can fit it on there with a regular watch face, which is what I like more than the digital. So, there's a lot of stuff that you can do that you really couldn't do before. I wouldn't use the UV because I don't care.
You don't go. You don't go out in the sun.
Well, no. If it gets hot, I go under the bridge. If it's not hot, then I don't.
That's right. It ain't rocket science, is it?
I mean, I don't need a UV meter telling me, "Hey, the sun is shining." I can tell, and when rain starts dripping on my head, I know it's not sunny yet. So,
it's quite simple, isn't it? Really.
This took me 50 years to master, but I think I've got it. But the temperature thing is really cool. And the way that they did them kind of around the corners is very cool. What the fuck are you doing?
Sorry, I was pouring water for myself.
Why are you having water? I always have beer because I thought you drank during the show.
Oh, yeah. I don't have enough money to buy beer, okay?
I steal mine every Wednesday. I rob the same store every single Wednesday.
The complications are very interesting, but I think what really got people jazzed in a very interesting kind of way was the heart stuff, the ECG, and that was interesting to me that everyone got excited about that. Can you give me a sense of why people in the room were so excited about those features?
I think we all recognize that the Apple Watch, as it sits right now, has helped save people's lives. Yeah. There's been many accounts of how the Apple Watch has helped save people. And this takes it a step further. And when the cardiologist was speaking, we've all been through this. Something happens, maybe not even to your heart, but something happens and you think, geez, that was weird. I'm going to go see the doctor. You go see, I don't, but people do.
Yes, apparently.
They go see the doctor and the doctor says, well, what happens? Well, this happened. It's not happening now. And it hasn't happened since, so I don't know what to tell you. And the doctor's like, get out of here. That's Canadian doctors.
Exactly. Right.
They get it. So if you have this EKG, you can say, look, this is what happened on this day at this time. And I wasn't doing anything. I was sitting down. And he can look at that and have a better idea of maybe it's, a real problem because it happened for, an hour when you didn't even know it was happening, or maybe it was just a blip, and he can say, yeah, don't worry about it, which is, again, what Canadian doctors will say. So I think that's important. And I think that the fact that Apple developed these sensors and it's FDA approved.
Yes.
I mean, this is huge.
Interesting.
Huge.
Did you notice that AF Waller on Twitter pointed out that Apple got that FDA approval yesterday? They just got approved for this thing. If you go to the accessdata.fda.gov, he says, here are 2 of Apple's medical device clearances with the FDA Apple Watch. Clearance decisions were dated yesterday, September 11th.
Well,
so they were cutting it awfully close, weren't they?
Well, now that's when the paperwork was published. They could have gotten their decision a month ago or 2 months ago.
Well, his tweet says decision dates yesterday, and I asked him about that. It said they were cutting it awful close. He said, yeah, they were.
Well, according to the date, yeah, but
not the published date. He says this is the decision date, not the published date. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but how does he know the decision date? Was he in the room?
No, it says that on the PDF. The decision date was.
I'm just saying they could have just put it there.
Anyway, I think they were cutting it awful close, regardless.
Yeah.
It's a big deal too that this de novo thing that Tim Cook mentioned, the fact that they get a special dispensation because they're the first to ever have done this. They get cut a little bit of slack from the FDA, which is the way AF Waller described it to me on Twitter, which I thought was really interesting too. That the FDA is recognizing Apple's leadership position in this and giving them a little more leeway into speed of decisions and not having to go through clinical trials, for example. Like normally, what AF Waller said is that they'd have to have 3 months of official clinical trials to show the FDA, but because of the Apple campus and the Apple Fitness Center, they've already got some unofficial clinical data that they would be able to show the FDA, and the FDA could have gone, okay, fine, because you guys are the first, this de novo will let you get this FDA approved faster than what normally would happen.
Well,
it's a big deal regardless. I think this is a really important thing.
It's huge.
But like I said, I thought it was very interesting how so many people, not only in the room but on Twitter and even in our IRC chat, felt this was a big deal, and not just for themselves. We heard from so many people. Terry was talking about how she would get one of these for her husband. Angry drunk Darby Lyons said he'd love to get one of these for his mother. For
Angry Drunk, did he change his name or
Darby Lyons?
Yeah.
What else would they call him?
Well, he was an angry drunk bastard at one time.
He was Angry Mac Bastard.
Angry Mac. Well, he's also an angry drunk bastard.
He's always been an angry drunk. So there's lots of folks who are looking at this particular feature and saying this can be very helpful either themselves or to other people. I wonder if this is Apple tapping into, for lack of a better way to describe it, our fear of our own mortality.
I knew you were going to say that. No,
you don't think?
No, it's Apple tapping into reality.
Yeah,
this is reality. I mean, people die unexpected. I mean, think about it. You hear about people that are at work or at home mowing the grass, and they have a little twinge, and then it goes away, and they think, whatever, I'm hot, and I'm working hard, and then the next day they have a heart attack and die.
Yep, it happens.
Or they die on the spot. There's nothing you can do about that. But if the Apple Watch comes up and says, "Hey, get to a goddamn hospital right now,"
yeah.
I want to see a message like that too.
That's right.
I want to see the Apple Watch do haptics and be blinking and. But if the Apple Watch said, "Get to a hospital now, you're in trouble,"
yeah,
then you go to a hospital and what has happened? The stories that we've heard already, just with heart rate, where the doctor says, "Holy shit."
Yep.
Get in the operating room, or if you had waited 24 hours, you'd be dead. I mean, that's crazy stuff.
Yeah, Monty says that happened to my mother. She felt bad, went to the doctor, had an EKG done, was told you're okay, went home, went to bed, never woke up. She still had the EKG pads on her chest. It's just awful. I just can't imagine anything worse than that. So that's one aspect of it. The other interesting aspect of it, and again, this made a lot of people say, I'd love to have this for my aging parents, was this idea of the fall detection. Apple says
Yes.
with the new accelerometer and gyroscope, Apple Watch can detect that you've fallen. I'm going to be really interested to see how Apple explains this, if they do. But in the demonstration, they said there are common characteristics to falls. I wonder what those characteristics are. Obviously, acceleration.
And the pace of movement, the drop, all of that stuff. But you know what's funny? During the keynote, I had a friend text me and say the fall detection. This is perfect for me, and it's true because they fall all the time.
That's not good.
So. I'm glad I'm not on their SOS list.
No kidding.
And they weren't trying to be funny. They were serious.
Yeah.
Like, this is perfect for me. And I just shook my head. I almost laughed out loud when, which wouldn't have been good, during the fall detection segment, hearing me laugh. But yeah, I thought it was,
it's going to be interesting.
I think it's a good feature.
It's going to be interesting to see how geeks and nerds test this out. One thing I'd want to know is, would it detect that you're on a trampoline? Because a trampoline is a controlled fall, or barely controlled fall.
because it detects non-movement after the fall too.
Ah, that's right. Yeah, so you'd have to fall and stop on the trampoline.
Right. But if you keep moving, what about skydiving?
Well, I guess there's no impact.
It looks like you're falling. Would you like us to have an ambulance meet you at your GPS location?
At your predicted impact point? We'll have a shovel with them. We can scoop you in an envelope or just bury you right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're making fun of this, but for the vast majority of people, it's going to work exactly the way it's advertised. People are saying, for age parents. I'm thinking about it for motorcycle riders. I wonder if it would work in a crash situation for a motorcycle rider where you're.
I don't see why not.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the first emails I sent off to Apple PR was, would it work in that situation where someone had a motorcycle accident? Now, obviously, that means you have to have the cellular version of the Apple Watch. It means a little higher price, but for a lot of folks, it's certainly worth that price for that kind of peace of mind, a little extra peace of mind. What I'd be curious about is how many people are going to buy this over something like that Life Alert thing that we've seen the TV commercials.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah.
I did think about that because it will. I mean, if you fall and get knocked out, Life Alert's not that much good to you.
Yeah. And Life Alert, I think, is $50 a month.
So if you fall with this and don't move for, I think it's 5 minutes.
1 minute.
If you don't. Is it 1 minute?
1 minute, yep.
So if you fall and don't move, and it can detect, obviously, these accelerometers and stuff can detect the slightest movement.
Yep.
So if you don't move for a minute, it's going to automatically call ambulance, send out your SOS, a message to your SOS contact, and send your GPS location.
Yep. So,
damn. I mean, that's huge.
It really is.
I feel better getting older now. I'm going to start falling down a lot soon. I know it.
It also points up the big picture idea of where Apple is going with the Apple Watch. Someone said in our IRC chat room this morning that if you watched the first Apple Watch announcement, you really couldn't get a sense of where Apple thought this fit in. Was it fashion? Was it a watch? Was it? Now it's pretty clear. Apple sees this as a fashionable fitness and health tracker.
Well, I think that we had a lot to do with that too.
How so?
Well, I think we helped guide where Apple's going with this.
Yeah.
Because, I agree. I don't think that they knew that there was some uses for fitness, that it could help close these rings and, which would tie into the health app and all of this kind of stuff. But then that section of it, the health and fitness, just took off.
Yeah. I wonder if it took off more than Apple was expecting.
Well, same as the App Store. The App Store took off more than what I was expecting.
Yeah.
I think this could have too.
The price points are good. I was surprised that the Apple Watch 4 is not nearly as expensive as I was expecting it to be. And I think they've lowered the price of the 3. So I think there's going to be a lot of people upgrading their Apple Watches to 4s, or for those folks who have a 0, even up to a 3.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big year for Apple Watch this Christmas, I easily predict.
Well, my dad just bought one already. He got one for his birthday, which was in late August. And now he's, Dad's what? Dad's like 71.
Yeah.
But he bikes like 50, 75 kilometers.
Really? Wow. Good for him.
Yeah. Yeah. So he has the Apple Watch and he has his headphones and, off he goes.
Good for him.
Yeah. So I couldn't do it.
Neither could I. Interesting. Some people are complaining that the Apple Series 4 is $100 more expensive. It'll have the same battery life. Outdoor tracker activity battery life has improved. Series 4 will start at $399 or $499 for the cellular version. That's not unreasonable for all the extra stuff that Apple seems to be putting into this that will then carry on, I believe, for at least 2 or 3 more versions.
Well, but there is a solution to that too. Don't buy it. if you're worried about that, then don't buy that one.
Buy something else.
Buy the cheaper model.
Yep.
There's a cheaper model. Don't fret yourself over it. Just go buy the cheaper model.
But like I said, even and I'm poor, but even the most expensive model is not. I believe it's good value for the money, I guess is what I'm saying. This version 4 is the one I can honestly say that if you're going to use some of these features, and there's a lot of features in there that you would use, with the addition of the health monitoring stuff that they've got and are going to continue to do, that I think this one in particular is very good value for the money for those who can afford the hit.
I agree. But if something like fall detection doesn't appeal to you because you don't mind falling, getting knocked out and dying and having blowflies lay maggots on you and eat you alive, that's okay. You don't need to buy that one. See, I should have done that presentation. I should have done the Apple Watch presentation.
That would have been so much funnier.
If you don't mind blowflies and maggots, yes, buy the cheaper model. Go ahead. There's no fall detection on that, but it's okay. It's $100 cheaper.
There's Apple's marketing campaign right there. If you don't mind blowflies
and maggots,
go ahead.
Get the cheaper one. You'll be okay. You will be okay.
Right. It's completely your call.
It's your call. Totally your decision. Me, I'm all about safety. So right. I'll go for the more expensive one.
Not a big fan.
While you're laying in an alley being eaten alive by maggots and rats, I'll be fine.
That's right. Next up was now the whole lineup is iPhone X, iPhone 10. The rumors of the naming convention turned out to be true. Didn't like hearing them coming out of everyone's mouth. The iPhone XS, the 10s, the 10s Max, the extra small Max. I think this is just awful.
Well, I don't mind the 10s because that follows naming convention. Obviously, as I said last week, we're never going to see a phone bigger than the Max. That's because right. what's bigger than the iPhone 11 humongous? I don't. So we're at the limit here. That's it. But it's only been a day, or not even a day, and all the people that I've been talking to, I've just called it the Max.
Yeah, and the S and the R. Yeah, that's eventually exactly how we're going to refer to these things.
So, I didn't get into, iPhone XS Max. I just said Max.
Yeah, as soon as Schiller said it, I was like, oh, geez, yeah, I knew I wouldn't like it. I knew I wouldn't like the sound of it. But you're right. We're going to shorten that up anyway, so it's probably not going to
Yeah,
end up
it
making
doesn't
any difference.
matter.
Yeah.
I mean, this is whatever names they use are just to be distinctive in their marketing.
Yeah.
So the iPhone R, the iPhone S, you know, that's all.
Yeah, I agree.
And the Max is the biggest one. So
you're right.
You know, I never doubted it for a minute. This is it.
This is it.
This is it.
It is. Now you had a hands on with them. I love the Compare website. We posted the Compare website up on the Loop at loopinsight.com if you wanted to go search for it. It was really helpful in sort of getting you a real sense of the dimensionality of it. But tell us how it felt physically. You held the S, the R, and the Max, and give us a sense of what you thought of those.
So I actually didn't hold the R.
Okay.
Because it was on a pedestal, and they wouldn't let me rip it off. So there was that.
Yes.
But the S and the Max, I did hold. The S feels, looks, everything just like the 10.
Yeah.
The Max, when you look at it with the screen black and everything, okay, it looks a little bit bigger. And then you tap and light up the screen. And I have a couple of photos that I'm going to post of the Max and the S side by side. And it's unreal. When you pick that up, it's about the same size as the iPhone 8 Plus. So we're not looking at a phablet type phone. You know, remember those big things that were out years ago?
Yes, yeah.
They were ugly as hell. But it's not that big. So it's still going to go in your pocket. It's still going to feel good. And when you look at the screen, it's just unbelievable. I mean, especially for my old eyes, you know, aren't what they used to be. The Max, I could read.
Yeah, yeah. It's very funny how every now and then I have to look at my son's iPhone 5, and it's like, forget about it. I literally can't see a damn thing on it. So these bigger screens are real important to me.
That really bothers me. You know, when I go out to the pub, my local pub, and you know, I haven't even had a drink, and I see somebody with a phone where their font is like on extra small and they're reading it. You know, I just want to smash their phone something.
I agree.
You don't deserve that phone. Give me that. Bump up your font.
You with your child eyes.
Yeah.
I hate those people.
I keep looking for a font size bigger than what the iPhone will let me
so do I. Ben Wood on Twitter had a great comment. Ben said that this event proves that Ben Wood is a mobile wireless industry analyst. He said, Apple is doing what it does best, incrementally improving hardware and providing a carefully segmented portfolio that gives consumers a wide range of options and prices. I think this is just really nails it down. Apple does not need to come out with brand new super duper deluxe products every single year. These their incremental upgrades are so cool and interesting that they can keep doing this for 2 or 3 revs before they need to do something even more spectacular.
Well, if you look at the history of iPhone and what they've done, I mean, even when they haven't changed the form factor, they've made massive changes inside. So the iPhone is always moving forward.
Yeah.
Whether it's from the hardware side, the software side, usually it's both. I mean, look at the camera this time. You must be excited about that.
We can talk about that. Yeah, it's definitely, I'm not as excited as what some other folks might be. That's for sure.
Okay, well, shut up.
Thank you.
because I am excited about it. Why aren't you excited about the camera stuff?
Well, it's a whiz bang. In particular, we're talking about the HDR and the bokeh slider that they were doing. It's a neat idea. They didn't show it off as well as they should have shown it off. The improvements that they have are technical that aren't going to make a lot more difference to the average user's shooting. Unless you know how to take advantage of those kinds of upgrades to the hardware, it's not going to make a lot of difference to you. You have to get into very specific situations, very specific lighting in order to be able to capture some of the images that Apple showed you. And the vast majority of people don't know how to do that or don't take pictures in those kinds of specific situations. You know what I mean?
See, now you're just pissing me off.
I'm sorry. I was afraid of this, that I'd be all over your parade.
No, look, I want a camera that I can go anywhere I want and do whatever I want and take a picture in whatever lighting.
Yes.
And it's going to turn out perfect.
Guaranteed that's going to happen.
There you go. So I'm right.
But this camera isn't that as much of an upgrade as what you might want to expect from a brand new chip, new image signal processing, new things. And the slider thing, I think, is a really good demonstration of what f-stop means to people. But their subject, the pictures they used, weren't very good. They used a portrait image, and portrait images, you want the background to be blurry. So they should have used something else to show that bokeh effect. So, for example, if they had done flowers, one flower in front, one flower behind, and shown you the front flower in focus and the back flower out of focus, and then moved that slider, and then you would have seen the back flower come into focus. That would, to me, be a better demonstration. The other thing about this is that there's no way to make that thing in the background in focus and the foreground out of focus, which is kind of a fun technique that I encourage my students to give a try to. So have the back flower be in focus and the front flower out of focus. I don't think you can do that with this particular technique that Apple showed off today.
Why you got to be like that?
Because you asked me an honest question, I give you an honest goddamn answer.
Yeah, but geez, you just ramble on. You know, some nights my only thing is to try and make you regret that you called me.
That's right.
And I know you've got nobody else to call that was at the event today, so I'm here.
I pissed off everyone else in the Apple community. Jim's the only guy. That's why Jim's here. He's not lying. He's the only guy who'll pick up the phone when I call. I think I'll call up Renee Ritchie. Yeah, well, he ain't answering that call, you know.
Well, that's why I'm always drinking when you call, though. Oh God, it's Wednesday. I got to start drinking. It's 9 a.m.
Oh, dear. We saw the usual complaints about the iPhone price. It was very stupid. Wall Street Journal reporter said, I guess we've entered the $1,000 phone territory. Well, you know what? Those of us outside the U.S. have been in that territory for a year now, so shut the hell up.
Yeah.
But people complaining about the price of the phone. Someone said, sent me a tweet and said, I'll add price to that. $1,100 for a phone? Jeez. And I wrote, if you think the iPhone is just a phone, then yes, it is insanely expensive. But it's a great deal more than just a phone. As a matter of fact, the phone aspect of it is the least interesting thing about it. I don't think Apple does a good enough job, the media does a good enough job, people do a good enough job of understanding that simple concept. It's called the iPhone, but it ain't a phone.
No.
It hasn't been a phone in probably at least 5 years.
Oh, yeah, at least.
It is a small, very powerful knowledge device that's in your pocket, that's with you 24/7, that you can occasionally make phone calls with.
Well, And that is very occasional.
Yeah, well, for me, definitely. I said to someone on Twitter today, when my phone rings for a split second, I'm like, what the hell is that noise? Where's that coming from? You know, I don't recognize the phone ring.
Well, that's because nobody wants to talk to you.
Well, there's that.
For the rest of us.
You're on fire tonight, man.
I am on fire. Wait until I get one more beer into me.
Oh God.
Yeah, I mean, it really it has changed the way that people communicate. It certainly changed the way that I communicate.
Yep, absolutely.
I text more than what I email and phone put together these days. So, you know, that's certainly something to consider.
And I use the iPhone as a knowledge device more than anything else except my iMac, but that's only because I'm sitting in front of my iMac 8 hours a day. Any other time when I want information, I reach for the iPhone. We're sitting there, you're sitting there watching TV, and my wife says, who's that actress? What's her name? Pick the iPhone up, IMDb, name of movie, scroll down, boom, there's her name.
I think that's a test to see how smart you are, though, and you failed by doing that. You know,
well, it was a chick flick, and I didn't really care.
I'm just saying. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Well, why were you watching a chick flick?
Because my wife wanted to.
I see.
This is why you live under a bridge.
Yes.
Your lack of understanding of the female species.
Yes. Yeah, I have a dismal understanding.
Our friend Ted Landau tweeted something I thought was really interesting and also really wrong. He said, so, an October Apple media event is virtually certain. New iPads and the AirPower Mat to perhaps Max.
Yeah.
Ted's dead wrong on this, isn't he?
Well,
I mean, it could happen, but it's not virtually certain.
I was wondering at 11:30.
Yeah.
I looked at my watch, and you could tell that they were starting to wind things down. And I was thinking, okay, there's, you know, before things get really out of hand, a 2-hour keynote is safe.
Yep.
And so there's a half an hour where they could still do, you know, the charging pad and iPads.
Yeah.
And then they didn't. And I thought, that's strange.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they will do new iPads and a charging pad in an event, or if they're small enough updates where they'll do them in a press release, or maybe they'll wait.
I think it's definitely a press release. I think all of those things are a press release. Apple had the perfect opportunity today because Tim Cook at the end of it said, want to update you on a couple of the products, and he mentioned the HomePod, and he mentioned the Apple TV. I thought that's when he's going to say, oh, and by the way, we know you've all been excited and waiting for this. The AirPower charging mat will be available by the end of the month, kind of thing.
Or even November, just to mention it.
Just to mention it.
But that's one thing. The iPads, sure. But the charging thing, surprisingly, that's what I was waiting for.
Not only that, they've scrubbed the website of any information of the AirPower. So I got to believe it's dead, Jim.
No, I don't know. I mean, don't forget with the AirPower comes charging of the iPhone, charging of the AirPods.
Yep.
So you would need new cases and stuff for that, unless the old cases were they're already charge ready.
Yep.
Which I don't think so. But you know.
Well, someone pointed out. Sorry, not someone. I posted a link to a story on Computer World, talking about all the challenges that Apple has with this, and one of the challenges that I hadn't realized is that because Apple is promising this thing will charge 3 completely different devices with different charging requirements. They need a charging mat that can dynamically adjust itself, because the one of the neat things about the mat is that you can put any device on any place on the mat and it will charge that device properly.
Right.
Unlike some others where it says you have to put this device on the left-hand side of the mat and that device on the right-hand side of the mat, because those devices will charge differently.
Yeah.
The one of the challenges this article said is that that's a very difficult thing to do, is do this dynamic charging. Maybe that's where Apple is getting caught up and getting caught out with it when it comes to the AirPower. But as we said on last week's show, this to me is the biggest embarrassment Apple had at this event, was not being able to announce anything about the AirPower.
Yeah. Yeah, it surprised me. I'll be honest. I fully expected a release date, even if it was, late November, whatever. I expected some kind of release date.
And no one at Apple will even talk about it. Gruber said on Twitter that he had asked several people at Apple, both on and off the record, and this thing is the third rail. They're not going anywhere near it. They don't want to talk about it at all.
Well,
which is a shame.
It makes sense, though. They never talk about stuff that isn't actually announced.
True. But they have announced this. They have said this. They've set themselves up for this, and I think that I don't think someone on the Loop said that I was throwing a hissy fit because I said this was an embarrassment. I don't think that's a hissy fit to hold Apple's feet to the fire for a product they announced a year ago that is now officially vaporware that they have pulled off of their website. That's not throwing a hissy fit. That's legitimately asking Apple what the hell's going on with this product that you promised your users you would have at some point, at least by now.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
I mean, I expected it, but, who am I?
Well, you're Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. Jim did a, what are those things called? Oh, yeah, podcast. The Dalrymple Report with our good friend Dave Mark. It's already posted up on The Loop at loopinsight.com, where he talks more about this stuff, and he gets Dave's thoughts and opinions on what went on. It was a good event. I think it was there were some lulls in it. There was, I don't know about the environmental aspect of it. I love the fact that Apple is doing that, but that felt like filler. That felt like stuff they could have done in a video posted on the website. I think Lisa Jackson is doing incredible, important work. I don't know if it needed to be shown right then and right there. We haven't even talked about the iPhone XR, which I guess is replacing the iPhone 10. And with the colors, I think the XR is going to be the biggest seller in this coming holiday season. Do you?
I don't know about the biggest, but it's going to be huge.
I think it's going to be huge, yeah.
All those the young people going for the bright yellow, and
I love the blue,
the orange one they called that coral or something. Yeah, that's going to be huge. People are going to love that.
It's got a great camera. It's only got the one camera, but it's a very good camera. They've removed the home button. There's now Face ID across the line. You can still buy obviously older devices that have that, but right now all the new devices they move forward with Face ID. There's not going to be any fingerprint sensor on the screen or anything else along those lines. It's going to be. I think it's definitely going to be the biggest hit of the coming Christmas season. Apple's never going to break it out and say, we sold 1 million XRs and 500,000 X Max Pluses, or whatever the hell they're calling them. But I think it's going to be an easy sell for a lot of people to buy the XR over and above any other iPhone this coming season.
No, I agree.
Folks, talking to Jim Dalrymple with The Loop at loopinsight.com. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Shawn.
Talk next week, buddy. See ya.
Bye.
Thanks for Jim for being on for an extended time. We usually don't have him for this long, but I just wanted to get a little bit longer in there because it gives him more of a chance to insult me, because he seems to like that sort of thing. When we come back in our starting point photography segment, we're going to talk about Lisbon, Portugal, and our hotel that's in Lisbon. All that and more coming up. This is your Mac Life.
Hello, my name is Melissa King. I'm your Mac Life's official spokes Australian. As Shawn begins his 25th year of broadcasting on the internet, he has asked me to say a few words to you all. Send money. What? Why not? More? Okay. When you listen to Your Mac Life, you'll notice there are no ads, no commercial breaks, no 5-minute ad reads for products you've already bought or have no interest in buying. That's because Your Mac Life is entirely listener-supported, and not even listener-supported via a paywall or a subscription service. It's simple. If you like Your Mac Life, you can pay for it. If you don't want to pay for it, you don't have to. You can still listen. But we'd really like it if you did. On the Your Mac Life homepage at yourmaclifeshow.com, on the top left, there is a subscribe to YML box. You can send any amount you'd like each month automatically from your credit card or PayPal account. It's set for $2, $5, $10 or $15, but you can set it for any amount by clicking the donate button. The best part is you'll barely notice it. It's $2, but it makes a huge difference to us here at Your Mac Life. It means we can pay for website hosting, internet access, new computers and software to run the show on, and so much more. So, if you like Your Mac Life, please subscribe. $2 will make a tiny dent in your wallet, but when enough people subscribe, it makes a huge difference to Your Mac Life. I'm Melissa King. Thank you.
Welcome back, folks. Thank you guys very much for joining us here. I'm blocking my wife's face. I shouldn't do that. There we go. Welcome back to the show for this Wednesday evening, or in the archive if you so choose to look at it that way, or listen to us that way. You and I very briefly looked at some of the stuff that's Apple announced today. As we said, Melissa has a smashed iPhone 6 Plus that she somehow remarkably managed to soldier on and use, even though it gouges her face. She actually has cuts, and if you see, she has these. No, I'm kidding. So we can we can fix the screen on her iPhone 6 Plus for $100, or we can buy you a new phone. Now, unlike our lucky friends in the U.S., we don't have the kind of payment plans that they do down there. In the States, you can pay like $30 and get a new phone, $30 a month. Here, we got to pay like $300 up front and an extra $30-40 a month. It's kind of a harder hit for us here in Canada. That being said, it means that we got to think a lot longer and harder before we buy new phones. Most of us. We've got to really, really make sure it's something we want. You like the 6 Plus when the screen's good, right?
Oh, sure.
I was worried when the 6 Plus is my hand-me-down 6 Plus. You had a 5 before that. And I thought, oh my God, this is going to be too big for her tiny little girl hands. And
obviously it is.
It that's by the fact you dropped it and smashed it. Yeah, fair point. I like the idea, though, of you getting a phone with just as big a screen, but a smaller form factor.
I would like that.
That, I think, would be really helpful for you. Although I don't know if it's so much of a small form factor that you can use it one-handed. I think we'd have to go into a store and you play around with it one-handed to see. Because there's obviously a level of diminishing returns with a big screen but small form factor, where the form factor still isn't small enough for your small hand.
You're talking about the XR or whatever.
Yeah, the XR.
But it's way too much money.
I think an updated iPhone is in your future, but you're lucky in that you are fairly happy with your iPhone the way it is now. You take nice pictures with it. It does what you want it to do. You don't play games on it. You use it for your music, for your work calendar, for the occasional internet surfing, Instagram, Facebook, taking pictures.
Yeah.
You don't need a powerful phone. You just need a phone that works.
Yeah.
So it's easier for you. It's easier for you to make that decision because you can just upgrade to the next level. You can get a 7 and be perfectly happy with
if I had
with a
more
7.
money, if I had more disposable income, I'd get a new phone.
A brand new phone.
I would.
Yeah. But would you get a brand new today announced phone, or would you think you'd be happy with an iPhone 7 or an iPhone 7 Plus?
I would love a today announced phone, but it's not going to happen.
I think Apple is looking at people like you with the colors of this phone.
I love the colors.
So do I. I really
love
like
it.
the
I would
colors.
love that. Yeah, that's part of my reinventing myself to go when we go to Australia. I was thinking about that I would get a phone.
Part of your what's this reinventing stuff?
Reinventing myself going home.
Why would you reinvent yourself? What's wrong with the
fun.
way you are?
Because it's fun to reinvent yourself. See, the orange is very nice.
But you're lovely all the way. Lovely the way you are.
A refurbished, yes, I've thought about getting. Well, we looked at refurbished. Refurbished. Yeah. We looked at that, but still, even then.
Yeah. The downside of the upside of refurbs from Apple are you're getting very high quality stuff. You're also paying top dollar. You're getting maybe $50 to $100 off the price. And for us here in Canada, you're still adding $30 to the price of your monthly to your cell phone bill.
That's right.
It
adds up here. It's crazy. And then they already put it up again because we're not part of a plan.
Yes.
So they're going, we're going to ding you another
$5.
$5.
Yeah.
Then there's I want Rory on now. It just really adds up. Canada's crazy with prices.
Mosquito says, do you guys have access to MNVOs? That's our version. Things like Fido is an MNVO.
Oh, like Kudo?
Yeah, Kudo. Yes, we have access to those kind of guys, but they're not a lot cheaper.
They're really not. I did Kudo for years.
Yeah. And for us here in Canada, the issue we have is coverage. You step 10 feet outside the city of Vancouver and forget about it. You got no coverage.
Mm-hmm.
You go anywhere to the interior, you got no coverage. You go to many places in Canada, you won't have any coverage. So it's. I think we're stuck with the phones we have until we go to Australia and see what kind of deals we can get there. They're going to be better than Canadian.
Oh, it's like half price there.
There's just no way around it.
Compared to this.
Have you ever had any interest in an Apple Watch?
No. I looked at Vito's that day I met Vito, and Vito was a terrible spokesperson.
Poor
he
Vito.
was so cute. He was just, okay, did that. And I was just
he'd be like, when it works, it would do this.
He was so cute.
Because it wouldn't do what he was demoing?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know why it did that. And I'm going, it's really IG. I can't wait to get one of those, Vito.
Poor Vito.
Oh, he's so lovely.
Yeah, MacMan, wow. Sounds like Canadian cell carriers looked at the U.S. and went, all right, hold my beer. You guys have no idea.
Oh, it's terrible.
You think you have it bad in the U.S.? You get nothing on the Canadian system. The Canadian system is propped up by the government. It's awful. It is unbelievable what we pay for cell phone coverage in Canada. I think it's some of the highest in the world. It's ridiculous what we pay for cell phones and cell phone coverage. MacMan, the Canadian refurb Apple store is like 6 items. Yeah, exactly.
No, I wouldn't. And I wouldn't wear my Apple Watch. Say, for example, when I did my yoga practice, because I don't like I don't like wearing anything when I would do it. So it's not going to do that.
Useless for yoga, which is your primary exercise.
And and if I fall down, I don't want you to see the emergency guys running by, because I do fall down.
It would call me too, and I would go, "Are you okay?"
That's right.
Been a minute. Are you okay? Or are you just meditating? It's tough to tell. Yoga, it's tough to tell. Monty says, on Amazon Prime, I can buy a replacement screen for the 6 Plus for $24. Even if you ship me the phone and did the replacement, send it back to you, it would still be cheaper. Yes, but it would take 2 weeks, and she can't reload her phone for 2 weeks.
Oh, Monty, that's so sweet.
Like at least here, it's going to cost $100, but it'll get done in an hour.
Yeah.
So that's
well, I'm avoiding it. I'm
You're-
in avoidance.
you're
yeah.
taking the glass shards in the face too because you're avoiding it so much, dropping the $100.
Because it's the money.
Yep, it's the money. It's the money, honey. What else did Apple? The other thing I meant to mention this to Jim. I posted this on the Loop. Apple is now offering theft protection. Not only offering you Apple Care for if you drop it and break it, they're offering theft protection. I think is very interesting. It's an extra $100, but
for how long? For their $100, just that's it.
I don't know if it's a year or whatever period of time. That's an interesting thing they haven't offered before. They haven't offered that in the past. MacMan, have her old iPhone you could swap? Nope, we sold that to another 12-year-old.
Sold it too. I sold it. I did. And when this kid, who I love, this kid comes to the house, I hyperventilate because I want to take my phone back. My phone back.
Here, kid, take this broken one.
2 years.
In our starting point photography segment, we have been talking about this now for several months. September is the official launch of this. So let's pretend like you guys have never heard about it before, and let me explain it to you again. In March of 2019, March 23rd to 30th, Melissa and I hope to be in Lisbon, Portugal, a spectacularly beautiful, wonderful city. We are going to, or I, Melissa will be my lovely assistant, are going to be teaching beginner digital photography in Lisbon, Portugal. And what that means is that you're going to go on the vacation you're already going to go on. You're already going to go on this vacation. You're already going to be wanting to go on vacation in March of next year. So why not go to a place that's beautiful, historical, is really interesting culturally, world history. The Portuguese affected world history from Lisbon. There's a whole bunch of really interesting aspects to Lisbon. They have a fascinating culture. They have great food. It's a beautiful visual city. Amazing street arts. Amazing things called miradors, which are sightseeing locations, spots around the city. It is the oldest national capital in all of Europe. What about Rome? I hear people say. Lisbon is older than Rome. People lived in the Lisbon area longer than they lived in Rome, which is mind-blowing to me. They had an amazing, massive earthquake in 1755 that leveled the city. And that earthquake literally changed world history because the Portuguese were out exploring the world in the 17th century, but that earthquake stopped them cold. And they stopped being explorers, and that's when the Portuguese pretty much stopped being those world explorers that we knew them as in the early 17th century. There's all kinds of really interesting things about Lisbon. So you're going to go and learn and enjoy this beautiful city. But in the mornings, you're going to be hanging out with me and Melissa, learning about photography, learning how to take better pictures, no matter what camera you have. This is not a class specifically for, or a workshop specifically for DSLR users or specifically for iPhone users. It's for anybody who likes taking pictures, likes creating images. What we'll teach you is the tricks and tips and techniques of composition, black and white, landscape, street photography, and you'll get a sense of how to do those things with your camera. And the knowledge you'll gain in that week then takes you to wherever else you go photographically. When you're at home taking pictures of your kids, or your next vacation, or the next time you go to the park, or the next time you go and watch a kid's soccer game, you'll have learned and you'll remember, hopefully, the things that we taught you in that week. So, because I'm not a travel agent, I didn't get into the whole trying to arrange airfare for everybody because in theory everyone's going to be flying in from different places. For Melissa and I here in Vancouver, it's going to cost a small fortune, about $1,400. But for folks who live on the east coast of the United States or live in Toronto in Canada, it's going to be a lot cheaper. If you live in Europe, if you're one of our British or Norwegian or Danish or German listeners, we've got quite a few of those, it's significantly cheaper for you folks. The class will cost you $500 for the week, which I have since discovered, my wife has told me, is ridiculously inexpensive. Like, stupidly inexpensive. I was thinking about it after she told me that, and this is a class that actually should charge about $1,500. That's what it should be. It's not. It's $500. Early bird special, if you sign up before October 31st, you get $100 off per person. So if one of you sign up, you save $100. Two, you save $200. We found a wonderful hotel in the downtown area of Lisbon. It's really, really lovely. It's called, and I'm going to say this name wrong, Tesoro de Baxa. I know I've said that wrong, and my apologies to the folks, the lovely people at the Tesoro de Baxa Hotel. I'll show you guys the link to the hotel. They are, I'm going to block my wife's beautiful face with this. The Tesoro de Baxa Hotel is in downtown. What was that?
Oh, I was just trying to pronounce that. Baisha.
Yeah, I can't say it right. Has got one of the, you've heard me talking before, but the oddness of the way Europeans do hotel rooms. So there's standard double rooms, junior suite, superior double rooms, deluxe suite. If you look at the pictures on the website, it looks like the only way to describe it is it's charming. It's a very charming looking guest house.
It's a mixture of modern and old. There's
some really cool, funky touches to it. I love the lamps on the ceiling in this is the lobby area, and they've got lamps on the ceiling, which I think is really cool.
Oh, I love that idea.
I think it's kind of a cool idea. So what they've done, what the hotel has kindly done, is they are offering us. You pick your room. And you pick the non-refundable rate. Don't worry. It says non-refundable, but it's in fact refundable. You pick the non-refundable rate, and it's they'll charge you 20% of their room charge right then and there. But you have up till 30 days before arrival to cancel. So you get the great non-refundable rate, but we do get free cancellation from the hotel, which is a really big deal because trying to find hotels in the area that offered free cancellation at a decent rate was literally impossible. And it was really annoying in that because they had these non-refundable rates, and non-refundable rates would be like $100. But then the free cancellation rate was $125 a night. And I could not justify spending an extra $25 a night simply for the free cancellation. And it was driving me nuts. I probably looked at 50 different hotels. I guarantee I sent out at least 25 emails to hotels. And Tesoro de Baxa was the only hotel that was willing to give us the non-refundable rate with the free cancellation. So I got to say big props to them. Yeah, MacMan says at the refundable rate, you can cancel up till 24 hours, but it's a lot more. Yeah, it's a lot more. $25 a night, $20 a night. So that just, I couldn't ask people to do that because it's 6 months away. No, so October, November, December, January, February, March, April. It's 7 months away. Seven months away. So there's no way I could ask folks to make non-refundable reservations that far in advance. But so it's 20% down, and you can cancel up to 30 days before the event. Then you have to pay the full price by 7 days before the event. I think that's fair. I have no problem with that. It gave me the idea to do something similar for you guys. Rather than dropping $400 before October 31st, what we're going to do is you give me a $100 deposit, non-refundable, and we will hold your place in the group. This is, by the way, there's a maximum of 15 people who are going to be allowed to come on this trip. I'm shooting for 10. 15 would be the absolute max. So I realize asking folks to drop $400 6 months before the event might be a little too much. I might not be able to get that, especially before Christmas and that kind of stuff. So what we're offering now is $100 deposit, non-refundable deposit, that you give to me up until November 30th? No.
Did we decide November 30th?
I think it was December 31st, the new year.
The new year.
Because then the new year, it'll be 3 months before the actual event.
Right.
So $100 deposit up until the new year, January 1st, 2019. And that way that'll hold your place. So I think that works. I hope that works for you guys. I hope that's a good deal. I hope you guys see the value in doing it that way, or the fact that we're trying to help you guys out in making these arrangements a whole lot easier for you. Because I really think this is going to be I take that back. I know this is going to be a lot of fun. I've already got dozens of places picked out that you can go on your own, or that we'll be going. We're going to be taking, Melissa hates this, but we're going to be taking a Segway tour of Lisbon. We're also going to spend the Wednesday in the spectacular, beautiful Sintra, which is an hour outside of Lisbon proper. Sintra has got the Pena Palace, a beautiful fairy tale castle up on a hill that we're going to go visit. We're also going to go visit Cabo de Roca, which is the westernmost tip of the continent of Asia, Europe. And we're going to get a sunset shoot off the westernmost tip of Europe, facing North America, which is just, I think, the coolest thing in the world. I don't know why that really jazzes me up, the thought of doing a sunset overlooking the Atlantic Ocean towards the west, towards North America. So I think this is a good deal. I know you guys are going to have fun. I know you're going to enjoy Lisbon itself. I know you're going to enjoy hanging out with Melissa and I. I found a Fado restaurant.
Mm-hmm. It's very, very funky looking.
Very funky looking little restaurant. Probably do that on like a Thursday night.
Well, you have to do it.
We got to do.
You're only going to do it once. No. But
that's right.
You have to do it.
No offense to any Portuguese who are listening, but anything we've seen about Fado is just like, you guys seem like a really vibrant people, like the Brazilians, Portuguese Brazilians. They're loving life. But your music, this Fado music, is so melancholy.
It is very.
I'm fascinated by it. But the pictures of this restaurant, the food looked great. Mm-hmm. So I think we're going to have a.
So MacMan was saying that's not bad either. I think he means about the $100 deposit. But he says, I assume that's only if you're paying the full price.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, the $100 deposit is for those folks who are paying the $500 fee. You don't get early bird discount and $100 non-refundable deposit. That'd just be stupid on my part. No offense, but that's just throwing money away. It's bad enough. Apparently, I'm throwing money away already. MacMan says, I have no desire to ever ride a Segway, but I'd go just to watch Shawn try to ride one. You know what? I've ridden a Segway several times and done very, very well. I'll have you know. I've ridden Segways in San Antonio. I've ridden a Segway around the Alamo. I've ridden Segways in New York, in Paris, in London, in Rome. Where else have I ridden a Segway? That was it. And I had a blast.
I'm going to stand with MacMan.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not. You are going to be riding the Segway with me. You said you would. You promised me you would.
Bring Band-Aids. Yeah.
No, you don't fall off Segways. If Segways were dangerous, they wouldn't let tour companies put tourists on them.
I like walking. I love walking. But anyways, fine. I'm getting
We are going to have 7 days in Lisbon walking all over the place. I think having my cute little wife, a little helmet on a Segway is going to be the cutest thing in the world. Okay, how about this? If you don't want to do the Segway, would you do this instead?
Scooters?
We could do scooters. I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, we if you wanted to, we could do scooters.
Scooters would be cool.
I would
like that.
If it's cool, then we can't do it.
Well, no, scooters aren't cool. I shouldn't say that.
How about
dorky.
This? These are called go-cars. They're little tiny itty bitty. They're basically side by side scooters, and you would look just as dorky on them. You're going to look dorky on these things regardless. There's no way around it. You're going to look like a dork.
What is it with you and dorkiness?
I don't know.
The guy that has the FJR and wants to ride a Ferrari, you're into this dorky thing.
Well, the thing is, you look cute being a dork. I've got.
It's a skateboard, says Monty.
Exactly.
And MacMan's, he's calling you a big doofus son. He's saying I'm going to get my ass kicked when I get there.
How about this? How about hippo tours?
What's that?
A hippo tour? Look at this. It's a hippo bus.
Oh, well, I like that because I love the water.
In North America, I think they're called ducky boats.
I've never seen one of those.
Where it's an amphibious an amphibious tour bus.
Right.
They're called duck boats. I think
duck boats.
in North duck boats. But here it's called a hippo trip. I think that'd be kind of fun.
Oh, come on, everyone, let's go on the duck boat.
And it's 25 euros, but.
And how long does it go for?
90
Help
minutes.
me get out of the Segway,
90
everybody.
minutes of pure entertainment, it says.
90, that would be too fun.
It's deeply silly.
Yeah, and then you can take pictures from a different perspective.
Yeah, oh yeah,
you're on
absolutely.
the river.
Yeah, that's
that
definitely
would be nice. And the Segway, you got to get off. You're not going to go along taking pictures on your Segway.
Why not? I've done it.
I'm not. Oh, are they really loud? Oh, loud. That's interesting.
Well, you know what? We'll find some YouTube video and see.
Okay.
See if it's loud. The point is, there's lots of fun, interesting, cool stuff to do. There's some if you've been watching the video of the show, all the pictures that have been scrolling by are pictures of Lisbon and or of the Tesoro de Boxa Hotel. It is a spectacularly beautiful city.
It is beautiful.
I did not know anything about Lisbon before I started on this journey 4 years ago, hopefully coming to fruition now. But the more I read about it, the more I see about it, the more I fall in love with it without ever being there.
Well, and I am loving following the sites on Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying that because, some of the shots are beautiful and it's so colorful and vibrant. It's just beautiful.
If you're an Instagram user, send me an email and I'll send you some of the Instagram accounts that I've been following to get some of these pictures. Or you can just do a hashtag Lisboa and you'll get some amazing Lisbon shots. Dave D says, 10:30 a.m. in Sydney is 5:30 p.m. in Vancouver. Previous day, of course.
That's not so bad.
I want to know what time it is Wednesday in Sydney. Wednesday evening at 5:30 in Sydney. What time is that going to be here in North America? That's what I'm curious about.
Well, why don't you ask right now? Ask Siri what time it is in Sydney.
Siri's just going to piss me off with the answer. No,
why?
I don't want to know what time it is now in Sydney.
You want to know.
Exactly. So how would I ask Siri that question? Hey Siri,
if I'm in Sydney, Australia now.
No. Wednesday at 5:30.
If I'm in Sydney, Australia, Wednesday at 5:30, what time?
I guarantee you it's not going to work. Hey Siri.
Math is hard.
If I'm in Sydney, Australia, at Wednesday at 5:30 p.m., what time is it in
Okay. I found this on the web for if I am in
What's
Sydney,
she saying?
Australia.
Nothing. Is she all confused already?
Hey Siri, if I'm in Sydney, Australia, that's when she stops.
Well, that's it. You don't have to go anywhere else.
Go anywhere else, yeah.
I know. Monty's saying math is hard.
It is.
But I just can't think it. If I sit down and I go through it in my head, but I can't while I'm on this.
You guys have completely derailed my Lisbon stuff.
I thought you mentioned. Oh, yeah, Dave just kind of went off on. I guess it's a delayed reaction. Yes, it's very beautiful in Lisbon.
The other aspect of it that we were planning on doing is, so we'll meet up each evening we'll meet up and do a little bit of a class. Next morning we meet for breakfast, and then we go off to do whatever we're going to do. At the end of it, we're going to do a little photo critique. And then after that, we're going to put together a book of our shots. And we're all going to get like a commemorative book of our images. So you'll send me your best 5 or 6 images, and we'll have them put together in a a commemorative book that will all get sent out to us. Which I think is kind of cool. Shutterfly or Parable Press or some company will help us create that book. Speaking of which, we've also got prizes to give away starting the end of this month. The nice folks at Lonely Planet are giving away a tour book, a guide book, a guide book for any city that you'd like. It doesn't have to be for Lisbon if you're not going and you win. You'll get an opportunity to win one of their guidebooks. We're also going to be getting stuff from one of our Secret Santas sent me an email yesterday that said that, do I want to give away something that Apple announces today? And I'm like, yeah, of course, not knowing what Apple was going to announce. So the Secret Santa said they'll send me an email today or tomorrow. And so apparently we're going to give something away. I can't imagine it's going to be something from today because it's awfully expensive.
It's probably the clicker.
The
clicker.
We've also got the folks at MacPaw, makers of Clean My Mac 10, have said they're going to give us some codes to give away. But until I think I have too many scruples.
You do have a lot of scruples.
So there's this company, MacPaw, who I know. I've used their products in the past, Set App and a bunch of other stuff. They're based out of the Ukraine. They're nice guys. They're nice men and women. I was a beta tester for Clean My Mac for a while, and I used it and I liked the app. I liked the way the app looks. Now it's an official released app. Julie, their PR person, sent me an email and said, hey, you want some codes to give away? I said, sure, send me some codes. So she sent me 5 codes to give away. But I'm not going to give away the codes until I've tested the app and I know the app works. And I know I like the app. I should just give out the codes.
Yeah.
It shouldn't matter, but
you don't like to, it's your scruples.
If I didn't like the app, I'd feel bad about giving away the codes. Hey, here's the code to a crappy app, you know?
Yeah. No, I get it.
So during this week, I'm going to run some tests with Clean. I've already run a few tests on it, and it's worked amazingly well. There's a couple of glitches that I've noticed that I'm going to have to ask the Clean My Mac or MacPaw folks about. But otherwise, on next week's show, we'll give away some copies of Clean My Mac. And as this thing gets ramped up and gets rolling along, I'm going to have hopefully more companies who are going to be giving prizes away that we'll be able to give away over the next 7-month period of time. So if you have any questions about any of this stuff, you can always go to the website, startingpointphotography.com, and you'll get some more details there. Or I'm always happy to answer any questions you might have about this. You can send me emails to onair@yourmaclifeshow.com. You can send me emails to Shawn at yourmaclifeshow.com. We can find out. I'll try to answer any questions you might have. MacMan says, not bad, €75 a night. What does he mean? I think he's talking about.
He's looking at the hotel.
Oh, it's not. We get very good prices.
It's pretty good for what it is.
The only concern I have, and there's nothing we can do about this, is I like a great big bed. Just even if I wasn't a great big guy, I like a great big bed. And I don't know when Europeans say, "Oh, it's a double bed." I don't know if double bed means it's a queen size bed. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Do Europeans think queen size means double? Because they have twin rooms and they have double twin rooms. I'm just going to get a suite and say the hell with it. I think just get the suite and say the hell with it. Dave D says it includes breakfast too. It does. It includes a buffet style breakfast. If you see pictures on the website, the breakfast looks pretty good. You got a big, beautiful room to have breakfast in, and they have at least the pictures that I saw. Again, this is gonna be a time of year thing. They had a lot of fresh fruit. They had a lot of baked goods, the typical stuff that you'd see in this kind of.
There's lots
hotel.
of things you can look up to find out the exact sizes of the beds in Europe. On Google.
Monty says in the U.S. a double is not the same as a queen. Yes, in the U.S., Monty. We won't be in the U.S., so I can find that out.
It's already on Google. You can look it up. And so, did you want to know if it was 5:30 on Wednesday in Sydney, Australia, and you're doing your show? It's 3 a.m. here. It would be 3 a.m.
These guys are going to be so pissed getting up early.
If they want. Yeah.
Monty will still be up because he has insomnia. So it'll just be me, you, and Monty.
Okay. Oh, I'm not. Oh, no, I'll be there. Oh, no, I might be working, but I'll try.
Okay, so we can't do it 5:30 on Wednesday. I just feel bad with not doing it at 5:30 on Wednesdays. Because it's always been 5:30 on Wednesdays.
Well, then you do it to make it 5:30 on Wednesdays for all your listeners.
But it won't be 5:30 on Wednesday where I am.
No, you have to do it for your listeners.
Jeez, that's hard. I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can do that. Speaking of emails, got an email from our friend Scott Randall in the Long Island Macintosh user group. I'm sure you watched the keynote today, Shawn and Melissa. I was kind of impressed at the improvements announced, but really nothing enough to compel me to upgrade for my iPhone 7. I think I'll only have it for a bit longer than a year. I know many users live in their phone, and many of those will certainly upgrade. However, I'm not one of them. My iPhone 7 does everything I need, and the speed is adequate for me. To upgrade both my and my wife's phones to even the new XR would add about $70 per month to our bill.
No.
Perhaps a bit less with the trade-in on our old phones. At this point, not really worth it as these are doing fine. I am, however, looking forward to the new OS and announced features. He goes on to say, one thing that has me a bit dismayed, it's actually something that wasn't announced, in fact, almost hidden. With the purchase of any new iPhone, including the 7, the lightning to headphone adapter is no longer included. I had it here a second ago. Where did it go? God damn it. Hang on. It's this adapter, this little dongly bit, no longer being included in the iPhones. There are now no longer any headphone ports in any of the new iPhones. An internet search revealed this is a deliberate decision by Apple. It's bad enough that they did not bring back the headphone jack, which I still miss, especially when switching from my iPad to my iPhone. I got to dig out the adapter. Now people buying a new iPhone will have to pay the $9 for the adapter if they want it. Okay, not a fortune if you're already spending a really nice chunk for a new phone, but to me, it's the principle. Apple seems to be going cheap with this, not what I've come to expect from Apple. I don't care how much extra Apple will make on this, it's still a loss of goodwill. Of course, it will not stop me from buying my next iPhone, whenever that will be, but it sort of sticks in my craw. On the same note, the rumor of Apple removing the headphone jack from some future iPad models also does not sit well. I many times am charging my iPad while watching a TV show or movie and listening on my headphones. I'm willing to bet that you, at times, many listeners, have done this as well. Removing the headphone jack from the iPad will definitely cause a concern. Dave D has the perfect reasoning behind this on IRC. You see what he says?
What did Dave D say? The headphone jack is gone to make the phone water resistant.
If there's a headphone jack on your iPhone, that's an ingress point for water.
Of course, yes.
If you want your phones to be waterproof, they got to block the holes. That's just the way it is.
Have people been saying they want their phone to be waterproof?
Yes.
Water resistant?
Water resistant.
No such thing as waterproof?
Yes. People have been asking for that for quite some time.
Why is that?
Because people get them wet, whether it's in the rain or dropping them in a puddle or in the toilet or. So Apple had to do something to increase the water resistance of the iPhone. What they did was remove the headphone jack, but they were selling this little they were giving away this little dongle. The dongle is a pain in the ass. I absolutely admit it is, because I'm the same way as Scott. There are times when I wanted to charge my phone, but also listen to my phone. Well, you can't do that at the same time without buying a different dongle.
Why can't they have a little plug?
Because people would lose the plug.
Oh, for heaven's sakes. Anyway, MacMan's saying bullshit. They have headphone jacks that are waterproof.
Yes, but Apple doesn't have them that are waterproof. Well, doesn't matter if Samsung
plugs
does.
Can attach. You can have the plugs.
Oh God,
attached.
would you want a little dangly?
Well, no, it would be in your jack while it was protecting it.
Yes, but when it comes out, what are you gonna do with the plug?
Well, what's wrong with it being attached?
Because then you're gonna have this little dangly bit hanging off your phone.
It's terrible, you guys. Oh dear.
Are you mocking us nerds?
Yes. Oh my God. Anyway, I won't make an opinion on all this.
I get his point that, yes, it's just a $9 thing that Apple should give people away for free, and I agree with him on that. It's like, come on, Apple. You're already making this a little difficult for us. Don't make it really difficult by cheaping out on this little $9 dongle. So I agree with Scott on that one.
Yeah. I find Apple cords to be terrible of any kind. Like just any cord that they make is degrades very easily.
I don't disagree with you on that.
Which I think
I've
their
got
products being so high quality,
Yep.
their cords are terrible.
Yep. Michael Curtis in the UK says, he says, I would say Australia is more like Britain than the US or Europe. I'd feel perfectly safe there, not worrying about the next weirdo with a gun. Well, Michael, that's true of everywhere except America. I don't believe Australia is a very inward-looking country and feels it is part of the global community and is proud of itself and its place in the world. Sport is massive over there, and they take great pride in their teams. It's interesting you say rugby. I'm not sure if you follow rugby much, but they have two types, league and union. I prefer union, but in Australia, league is king. They also have Aussie rules, which is a weird sport, but great fun to watch, to go play and watch. But you told me Aussie rules isn't very popular in Australia. It's not common.
Not where I was brought up. It's more of a down south Melbourne. To my knowledge, it's more. Maybe it's expanded, but it used to be more south.
Interesting.
They bounce the ball in Aussie rules.
And you guys also love swimming.
Oh, swimming, tennis is huge.
Swimming and tennis.
Tennis is huge.
Yeah, tennis is huge.
Yeah. We always have a really good Olympic swim team. Yep.
So he says, I could be wrong, but they certainly love their sport. Yes, Australians absolutely love.
Crazy with their sports.
Love sports. So here's the email of, I don't know, the week, the year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this actually it says respectfully George Carlson. So let's assume that this email comes from someone named George Carlson. Dear Shawn and Lisa. Okay, you started off bad.
You're not endearing yourself to Shawn right now, George.
There hasn't been anyone named Lisa on this show in, about 10 years. All right? Matter of fact, I may have just said the word Lisa more times than I have in the past 10 years. Usually it's the term is my idiot ex-wife. Okay? So you didn't start off good, George. While listening to your show last Wednesday, September 5th, I was truly disgusted with your lauding of Nike and by extension Colin Kaepernick during your show. As a veteran myself, I cannot and will not stand for disrespecting the flag or the anthem. It's kind of funny. You won't stand for disrespecting the flag. So you'll kneel for disrespecting the flag?
Oh,
as a result, I will not be watching the NFL this season until the players show the proper respect for the flag that so many have died for, protecting our freedoms. Okay. Let me just stop you right there, George. Do not say this unless every single time you see one of your fellow Americans walking around with an American flag bandana around their neck, an American flag kerchief on their head, an American flag bikini around their body, or American flag sweatpants, all of which disrespect the flag according to the United States flag code. Yes, you guys have a flag code. It's very specific with what you can and cannot do to and with the flag. Guess what? Not standing for it is not part of the U.S. flag code. Not putting it on your ass is part of the U.S. flag code. Do not tell me that you will stand against Colin Kaepernick for him kneeling for the flag when you also won't apply the exact same standard to all those idiots out there wearing the American flag as T-shirts, as shorts, as hats, as bikinis. All those offensive ways you Americans will portray your flag. He goes on to say that, by the way, I will continue to listen to your show, but perhaps in the future it would be better if you left and your leftist political opinions to yourself. Now, I found this email to be really interesting because he said, Dear Shawn and Lisa, which made me think that he's been listening to the show for at least 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also said that he was listening to the show last Wednesday. So he's either listened on and off for the past 10 years.
Maybe on and off.
Maybe on and off.
Although I think my accent's quite different.
It's a little bit different. So if you've listened to the show, you should have learned a few things. One of the things that you should have learned at some point is I don't give a rat's ass what you think. All due respect to your time as a veteran, and I will always respect veterans for the work, for the sacrifice they have made and they have done with every country. I don't care what country you are a grunt soldier in, I will respect your service to your country. There is nothing more honorable than to join the armed forces of your country and be ready to die for your country. I don't care what country it is. I don't care if you're American, Canadian, Russian, whatever. Even when your country does stupid shit, you still gotta respect the poor grunts in the field who are doing the dirty work of these old men who send you off to fight their battles. So I will always respect veterans and those who serve. But I'm surprised when any veteran claims to want to force people to deal with the flag and patriotism in their way. One of the things I heard about the American flag so many years ago that I absolutely loved was that the American flag protects even those who would disrespect it. The American flag doesn't care whether you respect it or not. The American flag is there regardless. It is a symbol regardless of whether you respect it or not. It doesn't care if you're disrespecting it. Every veteran knows that they served, fought, possibly died to allow people the freedom to do what they want in America. Freedom is the key. Not do what I tell you to do, but you have the freedom to do what you want to do. Even if what you want to do is disrespect the flag. You fought for that freedom. You served for that freedom. And again, I appreciate the remarkable sacrifice you made for that freedom. So did my father. So did my grandfather. So did all my uncles. Colin Kaepernick is not disrespecting the flag. Colin Kaepernick has never said any words along those lines. Colin Kaepernick has said the exact opposite of that. He is trying to draw attention to a incredible situation in America, that of black men being killed on a regular basis by the police. Why would you think that kneeling during the national anthem would be disrespecting that flag? Is kneeling during prayer disrespectful? Is kneeling while you're in church in front of the crucifix of God disrespectful? No? Okay, then why is it disrespectful on a football field? It's only because you want it to be. That's the only reason why. And I'm not even going to get into the casual racism of so many other people. I'm not attributing that to you, George, but there's a large group of people who are upset about this because Kaepernick and many NFL players are black. That when white players protest, words aren't said. But when black players protest, words are said. There is no reason to have the national anthem before a football game or as a Canadian before a hockey game. I don't know if they do it in Australia before soccer games.
Not to my knowledge.
But there's no need for it in any situation. It's an idiotic display of false patriotism that does nothing. It equates this silly little game with my feelings for my country. That's stupid. It's unnecessary. By the way, do people realize that the armed forces pays to have those displays? Pays the NFL? That wasn't done before 2008 or 2009. When we were kids, this never happened. It's only been recently, the last 10 years, that we've seen these military members on fields and Armed Forces Day and that kind of stuff. That's being paid for by the armed forces.
Recruitment.
It's a recruitment
to do with
tool.
Recruitment.
So, George, while I respect your opinion and while I will listen to your opinion, do not in any way, shape, or form ever try to tell me what I can say or can't say in general and specifically on my show. And if you do think that you can tell me what to say on my show, please stop listening to my show. I don't want listeners like you. I don't have many listeners, but I want fewer like you. If you think that's what you can do in any way, tell me what I can say. Ah! I've been waiting a week to get that off my chest. just cranks me up.
Phew, says Dave.
I said it using very few, if any, curse words.
You did very well. Our friend will be happy. Our other friend. No, it's true. And you don't, there's no need to do the swearing.
Monty says, we could end this whole idiotic conversation. We didn't play the national anthem at every bloody sporting event. I agree. It's stupid. It's a waste of time. It's false patriotism. We don't need it. I don't need to sing the national anthem to be patriotic. I don't need to sing the national anthem at a hockey game.
I know. I'm just wondering if...
You said something along the lines of it jazzes the crowd up. And it can, certainly. But I think there'd be better ways to do that. Just one of those, We Are the Champions songs, Pump Up the Jam songs could do that before.
I don't remember saying that.
You did.
I don't think that was me. Because I don't agree with it. I don't like patriotism, so it's not like I would be advocating for this, oh, Canada, and all that silliness.
I love patriotism. I love patriots. I love people who are patriotic, but not when they try to force it down other people's throats, and not when it's this false patriotism of sporting events, this fake patriotism, or telling others how to act.
Well, it's kind of silly because most of the players on the American teams are Canadian, and you know what I mean?
Yep.
It just, yeah.
It is. Folks, I want to say thanks very much to all you guys. I want to thanks to our friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. As always, want to hear what you guys think about today's Apple events. Are you going to buy a new Apple X10 SR Max? Are you going to buy one of the new Apple Watches, the Series 4? Is that on your Christmas list this coming December? Let us know. Send us emails to onair@yourmaclifeshow.com. As always, I've been Shawn King.
I'm Melissa King.
And you've been listening. What was your name?
Who, me?
Yes.
Melissa?
Melissa.
Oh.
George, it's Melissa. George. Although I think George would have turned it off by now. Thanks very much for joining us, folks. This has been Your Mac Life. See ya.
Bye.